My sister Ricky and I have always been together. At school, everyone thought we were boring nerds because we didn't hang out with anyone else and were always reading. But one day, everything changed. Hi, I'm Mila. One day, my parents gave me a trip to a camp as a gift for my birthday. I immediately noticed a girl with an unusual appearance there. She had colored hair and lenses, and she always wore fake elf ears. Lana liked cosplay, and everyone in the camp talked about her. Soon, I noticed that she did streams by a lake every morning. I started coming there at the same time. I pretended to be reading and tried to sneakily watch her. Lana was so unusual. One day, a stray dog came to the camp. Lana was streaming when it ran up to her and growled. Lana froze up and stared at it in horror. I had always been good with animals and decided to help. I stood in front of Lana and spoke to the dog. It stopped growling, wagged its tail, and ran away. Phew, thank you so much. I've always been afraid of dogs. Lana suddenly noticed that she was still streaming. The audience had seen both me and the stray dog. Lana immediately introduced me as her savior. I was terribly embarrassed, but her subscribers suddenly began to comment that I was very cute. Lana turned off her phone, slowly looked me up and down, and suggested something unexpected. Do you want to become a cosplayer? What? Did I hear that right? Come on, that's impossible. I'm not pretty at all. Lana looked surprised and said that I looked like a doll and just needed to learn how to present myself. She called me to her room and picked some outfits for me. Then she did my makeup, gave me a wig, and I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. Was it really me? Then, Lana convinced me to create a new Instagram account and post photos of my new look there. In the evening, I called Ricky and told her about everything like usual. I thought my sister would support me, but for some reason, she got annoyed. She said that cosplay was absolutely not for me and suggested I think about a scientific project we could do after the holidays instead. Our talk really upset me. During the rest of my time in the camp, it wasn't just my appearance that changed, but also how I felt about myself. I got a lot of compliments on Instagram and decided to become popular. I became a completely different person. When I saw Ricky, I decided to talk to her again. I told her about my new hobby and showed her my Instagram. I was hoping she would be happy for me, but she got angry again. Cosplay is stupid. You should think about studying and our scientific project instead. I didn't agree, and we fought for the very first time in our lives. Before school, our parents gave us money for new clothes, and I completely changed my style. At school, everyone was absolutely stunned by my transformation. Some students didn't recognize me at all. My classmates found my new Instagram and loved my cosplay. It might be hard to believe, but I became quite popular. I found friends I could hang out with, and even Ryan, the coolest guy in school, started hitting on me. Everything was going fine, except Ricky didn't talk to me anymore. It really bothered me that we still hadn't made up. One day, Lana invited me to a cosplay fest. I decided to make up with my sister and invited her along. Ricky was working on a science project at that moment and didn't even look at me. Why don't you want me to be beautiful and successful? Why can't you just be happy for me? Go away and let me study. At first, I was upset, and then I got angry. All right, let her stay at home alone. I met a lot of cosplay fans at the fest, and we had a great time. At the end of the evening, the host announced that a contest for the best cosplay would be held in a week. The winner would get on the cover of a cool magazine. Of course, Lana and I decided to participate. Her boyfriend Dick's hobby was photography. He made content for Lana and offered his help. I didn't know which look to choose, but Dick came up with a cool idea. Lana said you were good with animals. Maybe you could use that? I gave it a little thought, searched online, and chose an unusual anime character. I needed a snake for what I intended to do, so I came to a pet store and rented one. Then I bought a costume and spent several days working on it. Dick rented a studio and rearranged a photo shoot. Working with Lana's boyfriend turned out to be very cool. He complimented me, gave me advice, and I felt very comfortable. The photos turned out amazing. I immediately sent them to the contest and registered as a participant. A couple of days after that, something else surprised me. It might be hard to believe, but Ryan asked me out on a date. I never would have dreamed of it before. I spent the whole day preparing for it. I was almost ready when Ricky suddenly came up to me and asked me for help with the project. I was glad that she was finally speaking to me, but then Ryan called. He was already waiting outside our house. I need to go. I'll help you when I get back. As I was leaving, I noticed Ricky glaring at me. I felt guilty, but forgot about it during my date with Ryan. I came home very late. I'd already gone to bed when someone suddenly rang the doorbell. A delivery guy handed me a bouquet of flowers. There were various compliments written in the note. I smelled the flowers and smiled happily. Ryan was such a romantic. I only remembered about Ricky's request in the morning. I came to her room, but she wasn't there. Her science project was lying on her desk. I was looking at it when Ricky's phone screen suddenly lit up with message notifications. It was an Instagram DM. I was very surprised. I thought Ricky didn't have social media. After reading the message, I felt even more confused. It was something about buying internet bots. When Ricky came back, I asked why she needed them. Ricky immediately got angry and grabbed her phone. "None of your business." Well, that was hurtful. Why was she acting like that? We used to get along so well. Ryan kept giving me gifts. One day, he sent me a gorgeous bouquet of roses. He'd also sent me a note with a confession on it. I took a picture of the flowers and decided to post it on my Instagram. All of a sudden, I noticed an unread DM. When I opened it, I got scared. Someone was threatening me. They demanded that I stop doing cosplay and go back to living my old life. Of course, there were plenty of weird people on the internet, but I still felt uneasy. I looked through my recent posts and saw a lot of negative comments. A lot of people hated me, apparently. I decided to look at their accounts and noticed that none of them had ever posted anything. I immediately got the feeling that my haters were just internet bots. Bots again? Was it a coincidence, or had Ricky used them so that I'd quit cosplay? Damn it! She had gone too far. I was furious and went to Ricky to get to the bottom of it. She said she hadn't done anything of that sort, but I didn't believe her. I was very emotional and told her everything I thought about her. "You've been suppressing and controlling me my whole life. I live in your shadow, and now that I've got my own interests and have become popular, you're freaking out." Ricky didn't say anything. I ran out of her room and slammed the door on my way out. Soon, the day of the contest came. All the participants had to go on stage and show the crowd their costumes. I was so nervous. I couldn't bear to sit at home and wait, so I decided to go there early. I invited Ryan for moral support. There was no one in the locker room yet. I carefully laid out my things and hung my costume in my locker. I was very proud of it. I looked just like the anime character I'd chosen when I was wearing it. About half an hour later, I got a call from the pet store, and they told me I was supposed to pick up the snake. I went outside to do just that. As I was going back, I suddenly noticed Ricky in the hallway. What was she doing there? When Ricky saw me, she blushed and looked away. "I just came to see you." It was very weird. Was she really there to support me and make up? I immediately felt better, but I was in for an unpleasant surprise when I came back to the locker room. Not just unpleasant. It was a nightmare. A total disaster. My costume had been completely ruined. Someone had cut it up and poured sticky paint all over it. Why? What was I supposed to wear now? I couldn't hold back tears. That must have been why Ricky had come. It had been naive of me to think she wanted to make up. When the rest of the participants walked into the locker room, they tried to comfort me, but I noticed that many of them were quite happy with what had happened. Now they had more chances of winning. I rushed out into the hallway, found Brian, and told him everything. He wiped away my tears. "Wait here. I'll be right back." He went somewhere and I was left alone. I was pacing the hallway, lost in thought, when I suddenly heard loud voices nearby. Lana and Dick were arguing about something. They were shouting at each other, and then Dick said he wanted to break up. I couldn't believe my ears. They were such a beautiful couple. When Lana was passing by me, I tried to comfort her, but she pushed me away and ran out into the street. I wanted to go after her, but then Ryan came back. He was holding a dress that looked very similar to my ruined costume. I drove home and took one of my sister's dresses. Of course, it's not the same, but it's still better than nothing. I was so happy that I couldn't help but kiss him. "You've given me so many gifts lately, but this one is the best." Ryan looked at me in surprise. "What gifts? I didn't give you anything." I reminded him about the bouquets of flowers, but Ryan said that he hadn't sent me anything. I didn't have time to think about it because the participants were asked to come on stage. I had to quickly change clothes, take the snake, and go with the others. Even though I was nervous, I managed to walk across the stage and demonstrate my costume well. The weirdest thing was that I saw my fans in the audience waving a poster with a printed photo of me. However, Lana was the one who got the loudest applause. She had more fans than any of us. Lana's look was also the most beautiful, so I wasn't surprised when she won. I took 5th place. It was a bit upsetting. If only I'd had my original costume, I would have had more chances of winning. When I was getting my certificate, I saw that Ricky had stood up and was applauding. How hypocritical of her! She had ruined my costume and now she was pretending to be happy for me? I got off the stage and Dick suddenly came up to me. He looked weird and was clearly flustered. "Mila, I don't know how to tell you, but I really like you. I was the one who sent you the bouquets with confessions." I was stunned and just stood there with my mouth wide open with no idea what to say. What about Lana? Dick seemed to have read my thoughts because he told me that they had had problems for a long time. She was too obsessed with popularity. And then Dick told me something that truly shocked me. Before the contest, he had looked into the locker room and seen Lana destroying my costume. That was the last straw for Dick, and he dumped her. They had had a fight, and Lana had admitted that she had seen him send me flowers. She had got angry and tried to take revenge on me. Lana was furious that her boyfriend liked me, and that I was quickly gaining popularity. She had sent me threats on Instagram and got haters to come to my Instagram and write horrible comments. I had no words. So it had all been Lana's doing and not Ricky's? Myla, you're very cool. I know this is all sudden, but let's date? Ryan suddenly came up to me and put his arm around my shoulders. I apologized to Dick and said I already had a boyfriend. Deep down, I understood Lana, but it was clear that we couldn't be friends anymore. Strangely, I suddenly felt lonely, even though I was surrounded by people. I had changed and become popular, but was I happy? I suddenly remembered how good it had felt to hang out with Ricky. At that moment, I noticed her leaving the hall. I caught up to my sister and suggested we go for a walk. We finally had a normal conversation, and Ricky admitted that she had been wrong. You were right. I was so used to you always being there and us both being unattractive that when you changed and became popular, I envied you. That's why I was angry, and those bots on Instagram, to be honest, I created an account and tried to use them to get more subscribers. I wanted to prove that I could be successful too. We made up. I spent the next few weeks helping Ricky finish her science project. Because of that, I had almost no time for my Instagram, and many people unsubscribed from me. But you know what? That didn't upset me at all. I realized that I wanted to continue doing cosplay for fun, not for fame. Soon enough, I stopped being popular at school as well. I didn't care, but Ryan did. We started to have a lot of fights. He reminded me of Ricky. He was trying to push boundaries, control me, and tell me what to do. He wanted me to have a lot of subscribers again. I eventually got so tired of it that I decided to break up with him. Ryan was shocked. What? You are dumping me? Me? If you need a super popular girlfriend, you should go out with Lana. She's single right now. One evening, I was sitting in the living room when someone suddenly rang the doorbell. When I opened the door, I didn't see anyone at first. And then I noticed a bouquet of flowers on the porch. As usual, it came with a note. I recognized the handwriting. The next moment, my phone rang. It was Dick. He said he was waiting for me behind the fence. When I came out to see him, he asked me to be his girlfriend again. Dick, you liked a cool, unpopular girl, but I'm not like that anymore. I like you anyway. I asked for some time to think. On the one hand, Dick is cool, but on the other hand, he sent me gifts when he was dating Lana, and that's bad. Do you think I should agree to date him or not? Write in the comments down below.